Hey everybody, welcome back to Tires on the Road. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you for coming back and checking out this video. Today we're going to be going over three things in this video. The first thing is the addition of the Morryde 4000 spring equalizers. The second thing is spring maintenance as far as your wet bolts and what to look for. And the third thing is we've added some leaf springs to the driver's side of our rig so that we can get this thing to go down the road level. The driver's side is basically where all the weight is, and over time we've had continuous issues with those springs on the driver's side sagging. So we're going to show you how we rectified that. So let's get into this, and here we go. So I was talking to Morryde about the issues I was having with our RV and wanted to do some upgrades to the suspension. So I wanted to upgrade to the Morryde 4000s from the 3000s, which give you more travel. The 3000, which come with the rig, have a 3-inch travel. These have a 4-inch travel. And this was really all I had talked to them about and asked them about getting was the 4000s. Well, the nice people over at Morryde sent us the X Factor cross members, which will go between the two Morryde 4000s on the center connection. By the way, these are sponsored items. They sent them to me to be able to install them along with all these other components, see if we notice a big difference in our ride and the longevity of our rig, hopefully keeping the wheels in alignment, keeping tire wear better. The other thing they sent us too was the heavy duty upgrade kit with the larger shackles, the bronze bushings, the wet bolts. As you know, the Alliance RVs already come with the heavy duty upgrade suspension kits with the 1/2-inch shackles, the wet bolts, the bronze bushings. I'm hoping that I'll be able to just transfer the ones that I have installed. We'll see how they look. They do have, I think we're up to about 25,000 miles now on the current axle setup. So we'll take a look at them. So looking forward to this change out. Taking the rig in tomorrow to get the axle upgrades, going from 6,000 pound axles to 7,000 pound axles with 4,000 pound leaf springs, replacing the 3,500 pound leaf springs. I was having an issue with the driver's side leaf springs because that's where all the weight of the 30 RLS is, and the leaf springs were flattening out and my rig was leaning to the driver's side about 1 5/8 inches, give or take a 1/16, but who's counting? So I'm looking forward to this. Again, big shout out to Morryde. Gonna get this stuff installed. So again, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you comment on our videos. We appreciate all the comments. We learn from them. We hope you learn from them too. And thanks for that. So the Morryde 4000s have come in really handy. We try and keep them in really good shape. Like I said earlier in the video, it just makes it easier to see if there's any damage. The X-brace went in flawlessly. It fits really well. I think it's very important to keep this because of the added stress on the center hangers, because now going to the 4-inch travel, you have a lot more leverage there on those brackets. As you can see, the springs before were not happy. Then we went to the 4,000 pound springs, and here they are here. The Morrydes definitely reduced the vibration into the rig, as we could tell from the microwave tray and the microwave rack. Increased travel, less pitching. It's just been an all-around good move. We did upgrade the wet bolts and the bushings in this so that we could start out fresh, new with everything. To date, we have about 15,000 miles. These pictures right here were taken when they were brand new. We're going to be looking at the microwave especially because the metal grate inside the microwave always popped out. That'll be the first test if it remains in place. And then the second test is going to be the round plate that goes in the microwave. Does it remain in place or does it move? So we're going to find out how these work out and report back. So good on the new Morryde 4000s. Definitely tell a difference on overpasses. The bucking is much less. One thing I'm doing today before our next long trip is lubing the shackles under the rig. Should be done every 1,000 miles. Ooh, that's not good. What this does is it keeps your shackles from twisting. It should be right here, and I can feel they're already starting to twist a little bit. So I'm gonna have to try and beat that over and get this back into place. This one here shifted quite a bit too. About 3/16 of an inch. So I'm gonna have to try and straighten those out and get this back in place. First thing we want to do is get all these zerks nice and clean. You don't want to hook your grease gun up to these zerks with them being dirty, because you'll just push that dirt right into the bushing. So you want to get these nice and clean. I'll put the grease gun on here and I will pump these up until I see the old grease come out and I see the new grease coming in, and then I stop, and then I take all that old grease off of there and then do the next one. See all that dirt come out of there? And then make sure you clean them up really well when you're done, so that all that road dirt doesn't stick to your new grease and get slung all over the place. If I had gloves, I would have them on, but I don't have any here. Keep them nice and clean, keep the dirt from sticking to them, and move on to the next set. But again, clean off all this old grease. Don't leave it hanging there. You can really see here how those leaf springs have shifted. And that's how leaf springs break, is it puts too much point pressure on this one and it winds up breaking because these have twisted. So I really need to make sure I get those back in place. Back in place, springs are lined up. It's still a little off in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this tire and try and tap those over so it's back in line with the rest of the stack. I also found these U-bolts not to be torqued too tight. I looked them up on Lippert and it says 90 foot-pounds. Check your tire wear. These are wearing really, really good. These have approximately 30,000 on them, 25,000 maybe, somewhere in there. "90 foot-pounds of torque for these axles." These are 7,000 pound axles. Everything's nice and clean, easier to keep track of any damages or anything that might happen when you inspect your shackles. It's just a lot easier to keep them clean for inspection. I couldn't get this zerk to take grease, so what I did was I took the zerk from here and I moved it over to here, and I put this one over here, and I was able to get that greased up. So I'm going to pick up a new zerk to replace this one. It just feels funny. It's got like a flat spot on it. Must have been from the casting or milling or something, or a big rock hit it. Since I had this wheel off to fix that leaf spring, now I need to retorque this to 120 foot-pounds of torque. And I'll check it probably at my second or third stop, just to make sure nothing moved around. And today, since I'm heading to Indiana, I am going to go through and check all the lug nuts. And I usually do that about every, camping wise, about every fourth stop before I depart, just to double check and make sure that nothing's loosened up over time from road shock, and everything is going to stay on the rig where it should be. The latest upgrade, we went over to a location called Sacramento Spring here locally in Sacramento, recommended to me by a friend. And these guys know their stuff. I made an appointment, went in, got the work done, and it was delivered when they said it was going to be, and I couldn't be more pleased with the work. We wound up adding 2 springs to be able to make up for the 5/8 of an inch sag on the driver's side. 1 spring at the bottom of the stack, and we added 1 spring to the top of the stack underneath of the primary connecting spring. They also upgraded the banding on these, which is a really cool band. I wish I'd rebanded the other side. The U-bolts were updated because they needed to be longer, and then they installed these super heavy duty nuts on top to hold this bad boy together. Again, really happy. You can see here before, here is after. I couldn't be more happy with the way this came out. If you ever need spring work and you're in the Sacramento area, Sacramento Spring is the place to go. These guys are just awesome. Can't recommend them enough. Well, that does it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed this and got some tips out of it. Make sure you check out these videos here, and we will see you in the next video. Until then, cheers and safe travels.